Breaking the chain. The night sky above what remained of Boston glowed with an unnatural violet hue, the ionized atmosphere left in the wake of another Jarvan harvesting ship. Commander Elise Kane watched from the reinforced observation deck of Bunker 7, the last significant human-resistant stronghold on the eastern seaboard. Her weathered face, scared from a past encounter with a Jarvan hunter, remained expressionless as the massive ship passed overhead, but her grip on the railing betrayed her true feelings. 37 harvests in the last month, said Lieutenant Wei, her tactical officer. That's triple their normal rate. They're getting desperate, Kane replied, never taking her eyes off the alien vessel. They know something's changed. For 2 centuries, humanity had been prey. The Jarvan arrived without warning, biomechanical entities that viewed humans as both resource and sport. They didn't want Earth's water or minerals. They wanted us. Our genetic material, our neural patterns, our endocrine responses to fear, especially our fear. The door to the observation decks slid open with a hydraulic hiss. Dr. Nadim Hassan entered, his lab coat stained with substances better left unidentified. Dark circles rimmed his eyes, evidence of sleepless weeks spent in Bunker 7's research division. It's ready, he said simply, his voice barely above a whisper. Kane turned sharply. You're certain? As certain as I can be without proper field testing. The synthesized virus meets all theoretical parameters. Wei stepped forward. Doctor, with respect, theoretical parameters isn't good enough when we're talking about permanently altering human biology. We passed good enough as an option about 50 years ago, Lieutenant, Hassan replied. Now we have exactly 2 choices, extinction or evolution. Kane dismissed Wei with a nod and followed Hassan to the research level. The elevator descended 20 floors beneath the Earth's surface, where humanity's last desperate gambit was taking shape. Project Prometheus occupied an entire sublevel of Bunker 7. What had once been a pre-war medical facility was now a labyrinth of gene sequencing equipment, quantum computers, and containment units. At the center stood a sealed chamber made of transparent polymer, inside which a single figure waited. Sergeant Maya Chen had volunteered immediately when Kane called for test subjects. A former Special Forces operative, Chen had lost her entire family during the Valentine's Day harvest of 2189. She had nothing left to lose and everything to give to humanity's survival. The virus works differently from any previous genetic modification, Hassan explained as they watched Chen prepare. It doesn't just change human DNA. It creates an adaptive system that evolves in real time. Every cellular mutation is a response, a calculation, an improvement. And the Jarvan DNA you incorporated? Kane asked. That's the breakthrough. We're not just changing ourselves. We're taking what makes them apex predators and improving upon it. Their genetic structure is remarkable, part organic, part synthetic. We've been trying to defeat it for decades, but we should have been trying to adapt it instead. Chen looked up through the polymer and gave a thumbs up. Hassan activated the containment chamber's air circulation system, releasing an aerosol version of the virus. Chen took a deep breath, deliberately inhaling the particles. For 30 seconds, nothing happened. Then Chen collapsed. Vital signs, Kane demanded. Fluctuating wildly, a medical technician reported. Heart rate at 210 and climbing. Body temperature 104 degrees. Neural activity off the charts. Hassan watched intently, his expression a mixture of scientific fascination and human concern. It's working exactly as predicted. Her body is fighting the transformation, but the virus is winning. Chen's body began to convulse, her back arching at an impossible angle. Her skin rippled as muscle groups reorganized beneath the surface. The observation equipment registered impossible readings, cellular regeneration rates that defied known physics, neural pathways multiplying exponentially, metabolic processes accelerating beyond anything previously recorded. My God, Kane whispered, what are we creating? Hassan didn't answer immediately. His eyes were fixed on Chen, whose convulsions had suddenly stopped. She lay motionless on the chamber floor. "Chen," Kane called through the intercom. "Sergeant Chen, report." Chen's eyes snapped open. They were different. No longer standard human brown, but a complex iris that shifted between colors with neural network patterns visible in their depths. She stood up with unnatural fluidity, each muscle group working in perfect synchronized harmony. "Commander," Chen said, her voice resonating at multiple frequencies simultaneously. "I can see everything." "Explain," Hassan prompted, leaning toward the intercom. "I'm not just seeing. I'm processing. The transformation isn't just physical. It's connecting me. I can feel the systems around me, the electronics, the quantum networks." The lab's equipment began to respond to Chen's mere presence. Displays shifted without physical input. Diagnostic tools recalibrated themselves. It was as if her transformed consciousness was communicating directly with the technology. "The integration is more complete than we anticipated," Hassan said. "Her neural structure has developed quantum entanglement properties. She's not just interfacing with our systems, she's becoming part of them." Chen approached the polymer wall, studying her reflection. Her physical appearance hadn't drastically changed. She was still recognizably human. But there was a predatory grace to her movements that hadn't existed before. Something ancient in Kane's brain triggered a warning. "Dangerous." "How do you feel?" Kane asked. "Strong," Chen replied. "But it's more than that. I feel aware. As if I've spent my whole life half asleep." She placed her hand against the polymer wall. "I can sense the Jarvan ship above us. I can feel its systems, its intentions." Her expression hardened. "I know how to hurt it." Before Kane could respond, the bunker's alarm system activated. Lieutenant Wei's voice came over the intercom, tight with urgency. "Commander, we have multiple Jarvan dropships entering our perimeter. They've found us." Kane turned to Hassan. "Is she ready?" Hassan hesitated. "We should observe for at least 24 hours. We don't know the long-term stability of the transformation." "We don't have 24 hours, Kane countered. "We may not have 24 minutes. Chen knocked on the polymer, drawing their attention. "I'm ready, Commander. And I'm stable. I can feel it." The decision weighed heavily on Kane. They had one transformed subject, untested in combat, against what was likely a full Jarvan hunting party. The odds were impossible. But then, humanity had been facing impossible odds for 200 years. "Release her," Kane ordered, "and prepare the virus for wider distribution. If this works, every surviving human gets the treatment." The chamber door hissed open. Chen stepped out, rolling her shoulders as if testing new equipment. "Permission to engage the enemy, Commander." "Granted, Sergeant, but you're not going alone." Kane turned to Hassan. "How fast can you transform a strike team?" "With the aerosol delivery system, 20 minutes for full transformation." "You have 10. Lieutenant Wei, assemble our best tactical squad in the distribution chamber. 6 operators." As the bunker prepared for battle, Kane led Chen to the armory. The transformed soldier moved with uncanny precision, each step calculated for maximum efficiency. "The Jarvan hunt us because they believe we are weak," Chen said as they walked. Today they learned differently. The first Jarvan hunter breached Bunker 7's outer defenses 16 minutes later. 8 feet tall with an exoskeleton of biomechanical armor, it moved with the confidence of an apex predator that had never known defeat. Its sensory apparatus detected human life signs, analyzed their stress hormones, categorized them as prey. It never detected Chen until she was directly behind it. The battle was brief and decisive. Where human weapons had always struggled against Jarvan armor, Chen's transformed strength found vulnerabilities with surgical precision. Her movements weren't just fast. They were predictive, as if she could calculate the hunter's actions before they occurred. By the time Kane reached the breach point with the newly transformed strike team, Chen had dispatched 3 hunters. She stood amid the biomechanical remains, studying the component she had extracted from one of the creatures. Their neural network is adaptive, Chen reported, holding up the still pulsing organic circuit. But it's limited by its programming. They can't imagine a prey that fights back effectively. Wei, his eyes now showing the same neural patterns as Chen's, examined the Jarvan remains. Their communication system is still active. The mothership knows they've engaged resistance, but they don't understand what they're facing. Then let's send them a message, Kane said. Hassan, how soon can we deploy the virus to our other bunkers? I've already prepared the quantum-encrypted distribution. As soon as you give the order, every resistance cell worldwide will receive the formula. Kane looked at her transformed strike team. 6 soldiers who had been human an hour ago and were now something more, something that made the predators become prey. Send it, she ordered, and prepare for counterattack. Today, we stop running. As the team moved toward the surface, toward the Jarvan harvesting ship that hung in the night sky, Chen paused beside Kane. We're still human, Commander. Just the next version. Kane nodded. Humanity 2.0. The version that fights back, Chen said, and stepped into the night. Evolution's answer. The Jarvan hierarchy convened in the central chamber of their mothership, a massive organic mechanical construct that hung in Earth's orbit like an obsidian star. Supreme Hunter Krulthax studied the holographic reconstruction of the failed ground assault on Bunker 7. What should have been a routine extermination had become something unprecedented. Impossible, clicked senior geneticist Ziv, its multi-jointed appendages trembling. Their biological capabilities cannot have advanced to this level. Krulthax's response came as a complex chemical frequency burst that translated to cold calculation. They have not advanced their technology. They have fundamentally altered themselves. The chamber, a massive biomechanical construct that was part ship, part thinking organism, pulsed with collective anxiety. The Jarvan were not a species that understood fear. They were apex predators, harvesters, collectors of biological potential. But something had changed. On the surface below, Elise Kane prepared a strike team unlike any in human history. 8 transformed operators, including Maya Chen, readied themselves aboard the Phantom Wing, a stealth craft reverse-engineered from down Jarvan technology. Each team member was a living weapon, their bodies and minds synchronized in ways the Jarvan could never comprehend. Neural link confirmed, Chen reported, as the team's consciousness merged into a quantum-entangled network of thought and intention. They weren't individuals anymore. They were a single adaptive organism with multiple points of contact. Remember the objective, Kane said through their secure channel. Get to the mothership's central neural hub. Deploy the virus directly into their network. This isn't just about destroying the single ship. It's about infecting their entire collective consciousness. The Phantom Wing lifted off, its quantum disruption field allowing it to slip past the Jarvan's most advanced detection systems. Where traditional stealth relied on physical concealment, the transformed humans existed in a state between presence and absence, their quantum signatures deliberately constructed to be unreadable. All these years, we thought we were fighting for survival, Chen said as Earth fell away beneath them. But we're fighting for evolution, for the right to become what we're meant to be next. The approach to the mothership was silent and swift. When they reached the outer hull, Chen placed her hand against the biomechanical surface. Instead of cutting or burning, she interfaced directly with the vessel's neural network. The Jarvan design was a complex hybrid of organic and mechanical systems meant to be impenetrable. They had never encountered a threat like this. Microscopic viral nodes spread through the ship's systems, not destroying but rewriting, transforming. The vessel's own defensive mechanisms were turned into pathways for the strike team to enter undetected. Inside the mothership, the team made a horrifying discovery. Massive chambers held thousands of harvested humans in various stages of processing. Some were being drained of neurochemicals. Others had their genetic material extracted while still conscious. This isn't just hunting, Wei said, his voice tight with controlled rage. This is farming. Chen interfaced with a nearby terminal, absorbing information at quantum speeds. It's worse than that. The Jarvan aren't acting alone. They're contractors, harvesters for a larger galactic community that values human biological components. What kind of galactic community would allow this? Kane asked through their comlink. One that doesn't consider us sentient, Chen replied. According to their classification system, Earth is a resource planet, and humans are categorized as pre-sapient biological assets. The revelation hit the team like a physical blow. Humanity hadn't just been fighting predators. They'd been fighting their designation in a cosmic order they never knew existed. The neural hub is 3 levels up, Wei reported, accessing the ship's navigational system through his transformed interface capabilities. But there's something else. A communication node connecting to what appears to be a galactic oversight committee. They're monitoring this situation. Kane's orders came through their link with crystal clarity. Change of plans. We're not just shutting down this ship. We're sending a message to whoever's watching. Humanity is not a resource. We are not prey. The team moved through the mothership with predatory grace, their transformed physiologies allowing them to navigate the Jarvan environment as if born to it. When resistance came, it was dispatched with clinical efficiency. These weren't soldiers fighting with desperate courage. These were evolved humans demonstrating to the Jarvan exactly what it felt like to be hunted. In the central neural hub, they found Kralfax waiting. The Supreme Hunter stood nearly 10 feet tall, its biomechanical exoskeleton pulsing with energy harvested from countless human victims. "You have changed," it said, its voice a mechanical approximation of human speech. "Fascinating. Your species always showed potential. Potential you harvested instead of respected," Chen replied, stepping forward. "That ends today." The battle that followed wasn't just physical. It was a complete system confrontation. While Chen engaged Kralfax directly, the rest of the team interfaced with the mothership's neural core, introducing their transformative virus into the Jarvan collective consciousness. "Your evolution is impressive," Kralfax acknowledged as Chen matched it blow for blow. "But ultimately futile. We are but one harvesting species among many. The Galactic Consortium will simply send others." Chen's laugh carried multiple harmonic frequencies. "You still don't understand what we've done. We're not just fighting you. We're rewriting the rules." As they fought, the mothership's systems began to transform. Displays shifted from Jarvan script to human languages. Environmental controls recalibrated to Earth norms. The ship itself was evolving. In a final desperate move, Kralfax activated its emergency protocols, attempting to sever the neural connection to the Galactic Consortium. "They must not see what you've become." Too late. Wei had already established a direct feed to the Consortium's Oversight Committee. The transformed humans weren't just defeating the Jarvan. They were announcing humanity's evolution to the galaxy at large. "Consortium representatives," Kane said, her voice transmitted through the captured communication array. "You have categorized humanity as pre-sapient biological assets. That categorization is now obsolete. We are evolved, we are aware, and we are claiming our place in your galactic community not as resources, but as equals." The response came as a series of complex data bursts that the transformed humans could now interpret. Shock, recalculation, and something unexpected: respect. Kralfax fell to its knees, its systems overloaded by Chen's relentless assault. "What have you done?" it asked, neural fluid leaking from ruptured connections. "We've evolved," Chen answered simply. "That's what prey does when pushed to the edge of extinction. It adapts." Back on Earth, the transformation spread. Bunker by bunker, settlement by settlement, humans embraced their evolution. Not all chose the change. Kane made certain it remained a choice, but enough did to ensure that humanity would never be prey again. 3 months later, the first official consortium delegation arrived on Earth. They came not with harvesting ships, but with diplomatic vessels. The galaxy had taken notice. "They're still watching us. Wei noted as he and Chen observed the consortium ship's descent from Bunker 7's rebuilt observation deck, making sure we're not a threat to them. Good, Chen replied. They should be cautious. We're not the same species they classified 200 years ago. Kane joined them, her eyes still fully human. She had chosen to remain unchanged, to remember what they had been. The consortium's representative wants to discuss reparations and formal recognition of Earth's sovereign status. And the Jarvan? Chen asked. Reclassified as prohibited from Earth space. Apparently, we've been upgraded from resource to dangerous. Chen smiled, the neural patterns in her irises shifting with complex calculations. Dangerous. I like that. We looked up at the stars, now filled with possibility rather than threat. What do we do next, Commander? Kane considered the question. Humanity had broken its chains, evolved beyond what anyone thought possible, and forced a galactic community to acknowledge their right to exist. But it was only the beginning. Now, she said, we explore, we learn. We make sure that what happened to us never happens to another developing species. She turned to face her transformed officers. We were prey. Then we became predators. Now it's time to become something better than both. As night fell across the recovering Earth, the transformed humans looked to the stars with new eyes. Eyes that could see further, understand more deeply, and imagine futures that their ancestors could never have dreamed possible. Humanity had been reborn not through alien intervention or technological salvation, but through its own innate capacity to adapt, to overcome, to evolve. They had been prey. Now they were the threat. And soon, they would be something entirely new.